What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot, brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. If you're doing any sort of DFS or sports betting this NFL season, make sure that's where you're getting it done. I'm Blaiden Kirk, of course, joined by, as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. I can't talk today, apparently, but we've got a great episode planned for you all. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFC West. We didn't talk about those two games that happened, the Seahawks blowing out the Cardinals, the 49ers the Rams blowing out the 49ers. Again, I cannot talk. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Green Bay Packers after their loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, which Theo was in attendance for that game. But before we get into that, and of course, we've got the Stay Hot Locks, which are brought to you by FanDuel, and we've got a little bit of a fun draft planned at the end, thanks to our good old boy, Matthew Sponhour. Matt, it's great to have you back. How are you doing now after your illness?
I'm doing well. I'd like to figure out why I get sick so often compared to you two.
I'd like to figure that out too. I think it'd be
my lighting makes me look like ghostly pale. Yeah, I don't know. I just had like a brutal cold where my nose got stuffed up so I could only breathe out of my mouth, and I had a pounding headache. And I'm like, I just don't think this is gonna work for a pod episode where I'm like, passing out in the middle of the games or whatever. So I apologize for missing the last one. As promised, I'll talk 2 times as fast from here on out for the rest of the episode to make up for missing one.
2 times as fast or 2 times as much?
Fast.
Oh. So you're talking less?
And I guess I'll be talking the same amount. Of course, this is after the intro where we chill, but I'll be talking the same amount of time, just twice as fast. So it also will be twice as much information.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I can get down with that. I was not sick. I was just in Wisconsin, a great place to be.
You were a little sick.
Yeah, I was sick after the game, but it was good to hang out with everybody there. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back recording in my same old place as usual, not bouncing between my grandma's house and my parents' house and all that jazz.
People
working on questionable Wi-Fi
with your locations.
It took me 20 minutes to download a 12-minute Arvel Reese cut up. It's like, get me out of here. It should take me 30 seconds like it does when I got Google Nest here at home. So I got fast speeds again. And yeah, I made it back. Right before we recorded this episode, there was a guy in a standoff with the police outside my apartment. Felt warm and cozy back here in Denver.
Warm and cozy. I saw the police shut down like half of the highway on my way to work the other day. I don't know what they were doing, but there were like 10 or 15 cop cars lined up and traffic was backed up for probably 5 miles. So
I'm sure there was a crash.
It did not look like there was a crash.
Ooh.
Because all the cars in front of the police were also like at a standstill. And then they were like it looked like they were doing checks of some sort. Like that's what it looked like. But I couldn't tell for sure. There were just a ton of lights. It was in a construction zone. It was crazy. Luckily it didn't impede my trip too much, but I was just like, this would suck to drive through.
Thank God. Well, do we want to talk a little bit about, Theo, your trip, specifically the part where you went to the Packers versus the Eagles, which was kind of a disaster game for Green Bay, I would say. I mean, it's a very tough opponent, but I mean, I remember after week 2, they had beaten Detroit, who was, like the number 1 seed, and then they went and beat the team that made the NFC Championship game, and you're like, okay, they're 2-0, and it looks like they might go undefeated up into this Eagles game, and it's going to be a huge bout. Instead, they're leaving that game. They only put up 7 points. They're already coming off of a Panthers loss, and they're 5-3-1. They're not really looking like the biggest threat in the NFC like they very well could be or should have been.
No, they're the 7 seed. They're 3rd in the division, behind the Bears, behind the Lions.
Wow.
The Vikings are nipping at their heels, and these last 2 weeks of football have just been terrible for them. And LaFleur's job security is very much at risk. That is a very real thing. It's not something that propped up out of nowhere. It's not something that all of a sudden is a media inflated talking point. I think it's been discussed in Packers circles all year long. It's been floated even from before the season. It's been talked about in Packers circles. This is not new. This is not popping up out of nowhere. Matt Schneiderman, our athletic beat reporter, reported that Ed Policy was evaluating if he wanted to give LaFleur an extension and Gutekunst an extension. He reported that in August, that their futures were up in the air and that they were coaching for their jobs in 2025. How's that going for Matt LaFleur? It's not going good. So
going great. Do you want to fire Matt LaFleur if you were the owner?
Not right now.
The owner, but
not right now. I mean, if they fired him today, it would be a huge overreaction, right? Like, but if it continues looking like this and they end up 500, they end up 8-1, let's say, something like that. They lose to the Bears. They lose to the Lions again. They drop one to the Vikings. Like, the way they've been playing, that's all on the table right now. Well, then, do I want LaFleur extended? I don't know. And then in which case, he'd probably just leave or be let go, a mutual parting of ways. I don't want it to come to that. I want LaFleur to just lock in and call plays good and be the number one most efficient team in the league on offense again. Like, that's what I want to happen. I don't want to fire him at all. But I do think that it's getting very tough to ignore just some of the bizarre things that he's doing.
Yeah, some of the end game situation decisions has felt very, very odd. And the Eagles had a weird end of game decision in this game too. Just like a random go ball to AJ Brown on 4th down. Like, that very well could have lost them the game. And luckily the Packers made them right. But yeah, the Packers are not immune to those kind of decisions either. I think you're probably right with, like, you can't fire him after this game, but if you get to the end of the season, like, if they don't make the playoffs, absolutely he's gone. Like, this roster's way too talented.
What specifically do you want to see him do differently in terms of play calling outside of, like, the end of game stuff? Because that's
yeah. Well, the end of game stuff needs to get better. I mean, we've had situations where, you know, they almost lose the Cowboys game because they snap it and run a play when they shouldn't, and they're lucky that was incomplete with, I mean, if there were fractions of a second in the NFL, it would be fractions of a second left, you know? So they got lucky there. And then the 4th down in the Eagles game, like, you're just running inside zone from shotgun. You need a yard. Yep. And now you want to get in gun and run the ball. Like, they've been terrible at that all year. They've been going under center. They had 2 timeouts. You said that, Matt. I thought that was a good point. I didn't even quite think about that in the moment, but you're totally right.
They ended up getting the ball back with, like, a chance at a field goal that they weren't going to hit, but, like, not a completely unthinkable field goal. So, like, I guess you can see the vision there. But yeah, if the cost is when you actually have a real chance to set yourself up with a field goal that you can hit because there's, you know, a minute 40 left in the drive and it's 4th and 1, and, like, this is probably the game. I was a little surprised that they didn't just say, like, hey, let's try to make the best of this chance rather than let's try to go so we can possibly get it back. And even then, it took the Eagles making kind of a bad decision with how they managed the clock for them to get the ball back and even have a chance at that field goal. What's especially frustrating about the inside zone call is, like, I mean, you saw the Eagles called it out. Jamo called it out and was like, hey, inside zone this way. And then they're not even lined up in the formation correctly. So it wouldn't have mattered if they had even picked it up. So they did that several times. My thought about Green Bay, as much as anything, is that they're just kind of a sloppy team. And I know that seems like kind of a vague critique, and, like, maybe you can just point out all the mistakes that any team that loses makes and say, hey, like, this is why they're losing. But I really do think, like, they're very talented. They can move the ball decently a lot of the time, but they have just, either not converted in the red zone or shot themselves in the foot when they're starting to get downfield. I mean, think about it. Think about the Panthers game first off. Oh my God, how many times did they screw up in that one? And then because they love to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball as much as possible, they limit the number of possessions on themselves. And that helps, an underdog Panthers team go and get the win. Not that the Panthers didn't make any mistakes, but the Packers made a ridiculous amount. And then this last Eagles game, okay, first drive, Watson mistracks a deep ball. He should have had that. Should have been a big game. Should have set them up for at least a field goal, which we know would tie the game. On the second drive, there was that 4th and 1 that they picked up, and then it got called back, and they had to punt. And they were only in that 4th and 1 because of a fumbled handoff. They had the Jordan Love fumble, obviously. That was a disaster to let the ball go there and not just go down. Then on their 6th drive, they had the double drop. They had a 3rd down it would have picked up and a 4th down it would have picked up. And there was on the 4th down throw was maybe okay coverage, but it should have been caught regardless, man. There was another, they missed a field goal. There was another 4th and 1 formation penalty. So at least half their drives more than that are ended by just drops or horrifying penalties or total blunders. Not to say that Jordan Love fumbling on that play is an unforced error. Getting sacked is getting sacked. Letting go of the ball right there and not being able to get it out properly. Yeah. That's an unforced error.
And Watson and Musgrave were both open downfield as far as I'm concerned there. They high-low the linebacker. The low is pretty much always going to be open. It might get tackled right away, but it's open. You can hit it. And then because he drove on Musgrave, I think Watson was all the way there, but he just kind of melted in the pocket and panicked. And I think that was my big critique of Love, especially in the first half, is just he folded under pressure too much. There are sometimes guys open downfield and he just kind of tucked it and dropped his eyes. And I wish he could have hung in there just an extra half second. The line was losing. Yeah, Aaron Banks had a disaster game, just a disaster game, 100%. And I think Love honestly played pretty well in the second half, almost very well, I'd say. I was pretty impressed with his second half performance. Watching it back was okay, that's when the drops started to come in though. So the overall passing attack, more on Love, I'd say the first half, more on the receivers the second half. At the end of the day, they both sucked.
Bad.
You can't.
Right.
It's
in
not
totality,
good.
They had
not good.
They had 3 first downs taken back by illegal formation. They had 2 that were on, or not 3 first downs. They had 2 on 4th and 1s, one of which they didn't get anyway. And they had another big gain to Watson that was taken back because of an illegal formation. And then they went 3 and out from there. Yeah. So that was unexcusable. I just feel like their passing game to me reminds me a little bit of the Jaguars, where it feels like there's talent there, but there's a lot that can go wrong. There's a lot of guys who you don't trust to catch the ball. And Jordan Love is just a little prone to making mistakes, even though I don't think he's a terrible player overall. And when you combine that, I think the critique that LaFleur is running too much is valid. And outside of situations where the clock is against them, LaFleur very much is going to run on first down as much as possible, right? But in this game, because of the script, they still ended up passing more than they ran, and they ended up passing more on first down than they ran because of the clock situations, and the passing attack just was not that good.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Over the last 2 weeks, they have the 5th lowest early down pass rate in the league. They have the 30th ranked rush EPA per play, the 29th ranked rush success rate. So their things are a little bit, it's been extra frustrating in these losses, just how much they're running on early in neutral situations and just how unsuccessful it's been. But at the same time, as bad as their run offense has been in these last 2 weeks, their passing EPA is worse these last 2 weeks because of the Love turnovers. So everything just feels a little bad. Every single unit on the offensive line, Banks has been a disaster. Jordan Morgan has been a disaster. Bo Melton was a cornerback coming into the season. He was probably our highest snap count receiver against the Eagles. Jacobs, I think he's very good maneuvering pressure in the backfield overall, but he's just not much of a home run hitter to erase the constant duress. Like Travion Henderson, he had the lowest success rate, I think, in the league in week 10, but he ripped off 2 long runs because he's Travion Henderson and has that kind of speed. Like Josh Jacobs isn't going to do that. He's more consistent, but because of the line and because of Bank specific, like I cannot stress it enough. If you were to put a counter on the negative EPA on plays that Banks affects, it probably would have been a full 10 points of shit they missed out on because he can't pick up a stunt or because he can't adjust to a spike in a run play and let someone buy him or whatever it is. So many of the negative plays you can put on him. So the line, the receivers, the quarterback, I mean, even the running back, it's just everybody's got to play better and LaFleur's got to coach better. And yeah, it just is. He's the only one you can hold accountable when everything is failing like this, like who else do you point? You can't get rid of the whole team. This is a very expensive offensive line. This is a very expensive quarterback. All right. They've invested a lot in the receiving room. I get that there's been injuries, but when the whole offensive process just falls flat on its face like this, it is very fair to point the finger at LaFleur and say, like, what the hell is going on? And I feel like some of the response on Twitter is like, Packers would be crazy. Like, they're crazy for saying this. They're crazy for talking about this. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, all the classic errors. Is this a disciplined team? No. Is the play calling maximizing the talent? No, not really, I'd say. Are they the kicker situation? McManus sucks. He's now 3 for 9 outside.
That is crazy that
we have a kicker who's perfect. Who is he going with next week? McManus. Is that a good idea? I don't think so. Is he managing the roster correctly? Is he like there's not a lot you can point to with LaFleur and say like, oh, well, he's doing this good right now. There's stuff in the past you can point to, but as it stands right now, I mean, there was a time when Mike McCarthy was a really good offensive mind and a good play caller and his offenses were humming. And then they stopped, right? And it was time to move on. And he got another head coaching job and led top offenses again. And so did the new guy. And why can't LaFleur be at that point? You know what I mean? Like, just because he was good in the past doesn't mean he's good right now. And I think once they're healthier, I do have enough faith and love. Like, he really did make some great throws. He had an inbreaker to Dobbs, like around Quinion Mitchell, that was just unbelievable. He had a scramble in a tight pocket that I was really impressed by when he escaped in a total phone booth. He overall, I think, like, I don't know if he played well enough to win the game in the second half, but like watching that on the all 22 made me feel better about him specifically going forward. So it's like and there's still like one of the higher ranked, more efficient passing attacks in the league when you look at just like yards per attempt, like just basic thing. Like when they drop back, they're usually picking up chunks overall this season. Before this 2-game losing skid, they were top 3 in EPA per play. So I don't think he can't turn around, and I'm expecting LaFleur to turn it around. I don't know if it's going to continue to spiral like this. We've seen games where Josh Allen has missed open reads or Lamar. Like there have been years where we look at Lamar Jackson and say, well, he's not elite anymore. There have been Mahomes' numbers have been down over stretches. Like a 2-game streak is not enough for me to like totally hit the panic button. But I will say, like, the rumblings are valid, especially with the report that LaFleur's job was up in the air before the season. It's not like he just signed a contract extension or something. He's being evaluated, and this is what the product looks like.
Yeah, I do have some concern, though, as to like if the players, I don't know, maybe because I'm always thinking about this from like every Browns fan on the planet except for me once Kevin Stefanski gone. So like I keep comparing it to that whole situation. And it always feels like somewhat bad process when it's like, well, everything is wrong with the offense. So therefore, it must be the offensive-minded head coach's fault.
There is a difference between it being Dylan Gabriel back there and Jordan Love.
But yeah, that is the other thing is like the Packers offense being as expensive, and it's like they've invested all these resources into having a good offense.
In this year's team, and Micah.
Yeah.
I mean, Micah puts a lot of pressure on them to win right now. And that was an aggressive move by the front office. And okay, the front office is being aggressive. And what is the play calling? 2nd and 10 run, 2nd and 10 run, 2nd and 10 run, punt, punt, punt. Tucker Kraft gets hurt. I thought the lesson there was, all right, well, Tucker Kraft is out. You can't run as much because Luke Musgrave can't block. Is that what we got? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not the mentality they came down with. Like, Luke Musgrave was their most efficient target these last 2 weeks, but they'd rather get in jumbo. They'd rather put John Fitzpatrick out there, and they'd rather just continue to pound the rock instead of, hey, let's try to get the passing offense or get the identity of the offense in line with, I think, Love and Musgrave. I think Love and Musgrave and Watson, like, to me, those are your best guys right now. So get them involved. There needs to be a deep shot to Watson every game. There needs to be, and then some of the like quotes after the game is like, well, we need to earn the right to pass it by running it. Otherwise, they're going to stay in 2 high shells. Bruh, that's not
to earn the right to pass.
That's like, obviously running against a 2 high shell is great, but we know that you can attack 2 high shells through the air. You don't need to earn that when running the ball is not working and you're not generating explosive plays there. Meanwhile, you are generating explosive plays there sometimes when you try in the pass game. So like, that just feels fundamentally flawed to me. Like, that's so old school. That's like out of touch. Like, I don't really feel like that's true. And that seems to be the mentality LaFleur is going in with.
It would be nice if they could do that. If they could run teams out of 2 high and then pass against.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
if that had been proven to work, yeah, go for it. But no, that's not. So you can also, I don't know. It's not just that running can open up the passing game. There is some vice versa to that, where you can pass your way out of these problems. Like, that can open up the pass game if Josh Jacobs is on the field. It's 2nd and long, and they're not thinking about Josh Jacobs. They're thinking about getting upfield. But that's not what anybody's thinking about. They all know that LaFleur wants to hand it off in those situations right now.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree. How do you feel about the Packers' contention chances in the NFC right now? Where would you rank them among contenders?
I still feel like they're better than the Bears in the division, just because I feel like the Bears' defense has been so concerning over the last few weeks that I think the Packers might be able to play more complementary football than them. But Caleb really scares me, and the way some of their stars are playing scares me. Darnell Wright has been a monster these last 2 weeks specifically. I mean, just getting tons of displacement in the run game. His second step, like, in any kind of zone, is just absolutely dynamite. He's blowing guys off the ball. He is throwing Brian Burns around. He's hitting, right? He's hitting in a big way right now. Caleb Williams is one of the best quarterbacks under pressure anyway right now. Like, the way he's able to make people miss, he feels unsackable. Now, it doesn't always result in a completed pass. We saw all the drops last week. So, right now we can say, well, okay, Caleb has gotten better, but the passing attack still has some warts. But like, are they going to figure that out here down the stretch? Colston Loveland has been playing really well recently, So like, they are legit, I think. And their young core is really up and coming and more promising than anything you can say about Matthew Golden or Savion Williams or
for sure
whoever right now. Yeah. So I think that the Packers are a little bit more complete right now, but I think the Lions I'd put in front of them these days. I think I'd put the 2 teams we're about to talk about in the West out in front of them.
Yeah, that's why I bring it up, because we have 2 other teams in the West who I kind of think have taken over as maybe my number 1 and number 2 contenders. I mean, they're in the NFC. I mean, they're close to it, if not.
And then clearly the Eagles. So that's Lions, Eagles, Rams, Seahawks. Tampa, probably. I think they have their own issues, but The Packers are borderline top 5 in their own.
I would take the Packers
conference.
over Tampa. I think the Packers' ceiling is probably a little bit higher than Tampa's, but
Yeah.
I
But
don't know.
in the playoff standings right now, they're 7, right? They're the 7th seed.
I think they earned that. They earned that. Like maybe they're a little bit higher. Maybe they're a little bit higher than the NFC South winner or whatever, but not by much. I don't think there's much of a difference there. I feel pretty strongly they're in a tier with Tampa more than they're in a tier with the Rams or Seahawks or the Eagles. Well, I actually think they might be in the same tier as the Eagles because the Eagles have a lot of the same problems that the Packers have. Like everything we just said about the Packers can also kind of apply to Philly. And it feels like the only reason that Philly won and Green Bay lost is they just didn't have as many procedural penalties. So it's hard to say that Philly's in some.
Illegal formation 3 times in the same game, which are all like brutal, is ridiculous.
Luckily, they still have several more years as the youngest team in the league. We're all good guys. We're the youngest team. Brilliant excuse. Yeah.
Insane. But yeah, let's talk about the Seahawks and the Rams. Both of these teams absolutely slaughtered. I mean, we talk about a 4:00 window that was as ugly as any window we've probably seen all season long. Theo, I mean, we were literally like, yeah, we just didn't watch. Like, we're just like, we get a quarter in and we're just like, yeah, all right, let's move on to something else.
So the Commanders' defense is horrible, guys.
Commanders' defense is really bad. But I don't know. I feel like we've been pretty optimistic on the 49ers and the Cardinals as far as, the 49ers have been dealing with a ton of injuries and they've found ways to kind of push through. And, the offense did sort of turn things around late in that game, but their defense just doesn't have the talent right now. And then the Cardinals, I mean, dude, they're rocking Jacoby Brissett out there. And I mean, 2 fumbles and one of them went for a touchdown, just absolutely ridiculous. So which of these 2 teams, I'll just start, do you think is the better one in the division? They're going to play this coming week.
Yeah.
So I guess we're just sort of previewing that game.
That's a tough one.
It is.
I mean, I still have my questions. I've said the same thing about the Rams for a while. I still have my questions about the back 7 and whatnot, but their pass rush is so good that it still makes them one of the most efficient defenses in the NFL. I don't think there's any question about that. Now, we've seen teams like that sometimes like make the playoffs and then they're just too gettable. The weakness is too clear, but I don't know. Like, I still think they're a pretty big threat, and there isn't any team in the NFC that is just like so perfect in all 4 phases, run offense, pass offense, run defense, pass defense, that it makes me like disqualify the Rams. At the start of the season, that was kind of my vision. And the reality is like, there's just not that many teams that are that good. And on the other side, Stafford is just so good and the receiving game is just so good that they're going to be really hard to deal with. They're going to be an incredibly tough out with all them and McVay.
Yeah, I mean,
with
Stafford's
Seattle,
damn near on pace for 50 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. And Puka is, like as good as any receiver in the NFL, basically. However you want to.
And so is Adams, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Adams is
So it's a ridiculous duo. And then on the other end with Seattle, I think their defense is a little bit more balanced in terms of its talent, and it's also one of the most efficient in the NFL. I don't trust Seattle's run game. I don't trust the interior of their offensive line still, but Darnold in the pass game has been balling. I really like their weapons, like I've said, and JSN is as good as any receiver in the NFL, of course, even if he may have lost his grip on the Offensive Player of the Year race in this last week.
Jonathan Taylor may have elevated himself up to the next tier, so JSN is actually still alive in the Offensive Player of the Year race.
Okay.
Very
I will say, if Taylor gets MVP, I think he also has to get Offensive Player of the Year. I think.
Ooh.
Okay.
I think splitting those up would be kind of.
I don't know if I agree. I think it's a little unfair to give them both. I think at this
point, he doesn't need both. He's not. That's greedy.
I think they're too separate. Greedy. Yeah, be greedy. I agree.
They're 2 separate awards because they just
usually
always given to quarterbacks. So it's so non-quarterbacks can win it. But then if you give the MVP to a non-quarter, who even cares? It was a heck of a game by Jonathan Taylor. Shout out JSN for not completely ruining his receiving yards record attempt here on a 12 pass attempt game from the Seahawks, which was such bullshit. He still went for 93.
Andy draw two huge penalties. Like I think every time Darnold dropped back, JSN advanced the ball down the field outside of maybe some touch passes to Shaheed. I think every single one of those pass attempts was a 20+ yard throw to Jackson Smith and Jegba, or a contested slant to Jackson Smith and Jegba. It was actually crazy.
Really, this feels like the perfect test of how bad is this Rams back end. If Darnold and JSN can really get going, I mean, we could see just 50 points on each side between both of these quarterback receiver matchups.
I don't think we're going to get there. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. I think both of these defenses are pretty good. I think both of the defenses are going to stand up. I think it's going to be a lot tougher sledding for both offenses than it has been with their, past schedule. Like the Rams, for example, they have played the 30th, 31st, and 32nd ranked sack rate teams over this last month winning streak. They've outscored their opponents 120 to 30 over the last month or so, something like that. And that's really impressive. But the Ravens can't touch the quarterback, and they played them without Lamar. The Jaguars can't touch the quarterback, and the 49ers can't touch the quarterback. And then the other team they played and beat was the Saints. We're middle of the pack in the pass rush metrics, but didn't feel that way when they were playing the Rams. And
but it also kind of feels like for all of these horrible defenses that or even just horrible pass rush teams, they haven't played a single good offense either outside of the Colts.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been a bunch of they've played one good pass rush team in the Texans, and they've played one good offense in the Colts, and that's basically it.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be. I think people are expecting fireworks because of Stafford and the way Darnold has played, but I think that Stafford maybe is used to wide open pastures and time to look people off, and I think Mike McDonald is going to be able to shut him down. I do. I think some of the way the Rams protection looked versus some of these blitzes for San Francisco last week made me a little bit nervous. Because McDonald, he doesn't blitz often, but when he does, they're the best team in the league. And they had two plays that looked the exact same against Jacoby Brissett. I think they dialed up the exact same blitz twice. Knight forced the fumble twice. DeMarcus Lawrence picked it up twice, returned it for a fumble twice in one half. So, yeah, they're the best blitzing team in the league. When they do break it out, it's not often. I think they're going to do that versus Stafford and the Rams and see, okay, you've played all these teams that can't rush. What are you going to do versus this? And they're going to pin their ears back. And I mean, Stafford has 17 touchdowns and 0 interceptions against the blitz this year. So
that's what I was about to say, man. It's it
might not work, but I do think that it's going to. It's good versus good. It's good on good here, and I don't think he's going to shred. I don't think he's going to shred it the same way he has.
What do you think about the other side? Because while I agree, I just think the Rams offense is good and Seattle's defense is good, and it's going to be a battle. And you've got a defense that can get creative, obviously, we know with McDonald, versus a really creative offense and Matthew Stafford, who is, the ultimate vet who's seen it all at this point. But on the other side, it's more I don't want to say Darnold at this point isn't legit. I mean, he's proven it beyond a reasonable doubt, and he's not been bad under pressure or anything. But how do you think that goes? Because I don't really trust the Seahawks offensive line 1 through 5 at this point too much yet, even though I don't think Darnold has taken that many sacks this year.
Yeah.
Whereas I have huge questions about whether or not the corners can hang against Seattle's passing offense. It could be fireworks there. Yeah,
it could be. I feel like the Seahawks offense is probably a little bit more likely to have fireworks maybe than the Rams, because the Seahawks, they've just been at such a different level here these last few weeks. Like over the course of this Rams winning streak since week 6, like they've been impressive, no doubt. But over that same stretch, the Rams not only have the highest average depth of the Seahawks, that is, they not only have the highest average depth of target in the league, they also have the lowest pressure rate allowed in the league. And they have the best passing attack, highest yards per attempt. Like they are shredding over this last month. Like the Rams are a good offense, but like this is some like almost never before seen stuff from Seattle. Like Darnold's game against the Commanders. Now, again, that's a horrible defense there. And the Cardinals aren't great either. So there's going to be some splash of cool water, but it's like, man, these Seahawks numbers are such outliers where like not only are they more aggressive pushing the ball down the field as anybody else, they're also just like the best at erasing this pressure right now. I feel like, I don't know. I definitely want to see him against this pass rush, but the Rams had nobody that could guard George Kittle, and he had 9 receptions, 84 yards, a touchdown. They don't have anybody who can guard JSN. All right, so
no, I mean nobody's got anybody who can guard JSN right now, really, man. But
no,
yeah, I
nobody
agree. I mean,
does.
it could be nasty, and they're not afraid to just go to him, half the time if that's what the game comes down to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I like Seattle's other weapons a lot. I don't think they have anybody else where I'm like, this guy is like a game-breaking sort of dude, but they have a lot of dudes that you can't ignore. They have a lot of guys who can win with consistency, I think.
And I'll tell you, there is some good tape from their offensive line in the second half, specifically of the Cardinals game. Like their starting center got hurt, Oluwatimi, I think his name is Olu. I think I'm just going to call him because that's easy enough to say. He came in number 55 and he was dynamite. Like he was really, really good. Like him and Gray Zabel were on wide zone stretch plays, were just cutting guys off, giving huge cutback lanes. There's Cross and Abe Lucas, which isn't a bad tackle duo.
No.
And then they brought in, like, they bring 2 tight ends out there all the time. They brought in this huge Mohawk tight end dude from Minnesota, and they ran wide zone behind him, Callerup, and he looked like a pretty elite blocking tight end. They'll put a fullback out there. Like when the Seahawks get in that heavy personnel and run stretch, like they're coming off their best game in the season in that regard. And I wonder, I'm curious to see if that can keep up at all, because watching their tape last week, like offensive linemen 1 through 5 started looking not too terrible. Like that actually started to look like one of the better units in the league. Now, when they were going more downhill and when they were running power and early in the game, they were having more problems. Darius Robinson had a really good game, especially in the first half. I think they made a pretty conscious effort to avoid him later. Dalvin Tomlinson was good to begin and then kind of fell off a little bit. So I think Kobe Turner is going to impact the game. Like that, I don't think they have anybody who can block him because he's so quick and flexible. And I think he's going to cause some problems. But I feel like overall the Seahawks do have the trenches to. I think they can win in the trenches. I like the Seahawks in this one. I feel like the Seahawks have been a hair more impressive, and I feel like. I don't know. I like them a little bit more. I
agree. The Seahawks are the more complete team. I really don't know if their defense is actually going to be able to stop Stafford. Like like we're talking about a guy who is probably the MVP favorite right now. Him and Jonathan Taylor. We're talking about probably the best receiving duo in football, or right there with like Cincinnati. And so even if you blitz him, that means you're probably one-on-one with Puka and one-on-one with Devontae Adams.
That's probably not going to go well.
Probably not going to go well. Stafford's going to have his pick of which matchup he likes in that moment in those situations. Like, we know he's going to make the right call pretty much every single time. He hasn't thrown an interception in 5 or 6 straight games. It's
he's due? Question mark?
He's due to throw 4 interceptions in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think I just trust the Seahawks defense a little bit more. Like, they're both buzzsaws, but the Seahawks offense has a bit of a higher ceiling, and I think their defense does as well. Stafford does have a really, really good numbers against the blitz, but his average depth of target is bottom 10 against the blitz. His average time to throw is bottom 10. Like, can the Seahawks defense like play a little bit tighter on those guys? Can their offense put up points where Stafford's got to be aggressive? They have 6 players on their team with over 20 pressures this year, and the Rams can give up some pressure inside, some pressure even off the edges. Alaric Jackson didn't have his greatest week last week. I just think that Stafford's going to be under a little bit more duress. I don't know.
I like Seattle in this one a little bit more too, but we're splitting hairs here.
It's gonna be a banger.
It's gonna be a banger for sure. That's what I'm hoping. Would you say that these are the top 2 contenders in the NFC?
I would.
Me too.
I would.
I think there's a few teams out there that could, I don't know, like what if the Packers stopped trolling? What if the Eagles stopped trolling?
For sure.
The Lions are not that far off. I feel like my opinion could be different by the end of the year, but in terms of just like how they're actually playing, both Seattle and the Rams have seriously taken it to bad teams, and I feel like against good teams they always look like they belong, and they rarely are like just like sort of the bumbling, mistake-prone guys that you need, you can't be or whatever. I mean, both are 7-2. I feel like both of their losses are like really tight, close games where maybe they don't get one break or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, and even if the Packers stop trolling, I still don't know if they've got the talent. The Rams. I wish we had the top receiver in the league, and it's either Puka or JSN. It feels like
the Packers' offensive talent at this point is just not that great.
Yeah,
it's just not like they don't have a Puka or a JSN at all.
Yeah,
they don't have a receiver like that whatsoever. And Jordan Love, no matter if you're high or low on him, like he's not playing better than Darnold or Stafford at this point. And the run game, I just got serious questions. If Jenkins he's
on IR.
He's on IR, so he's out for the year. And you have Kraft gone. So I don't think there's anything that you're like that they're going to just become magically. I think they're going to be kind of a mistake prone. They could be better. I mean, I think if the receivers get healthy and you don't have guys who are just like sort of dropping passes out there,
right, that
would completely change how drives go, you could be all right. And you can change the play calling or whatever. But yeah.
And I don't buy much. The Eagles have a better case for it, I think. But at this point, like, I'm not really buying the
it can't.
It's all everybody's better than the Eagles until it's time to beat the Eagles. Like the Eagles lost to the Broncos. The Eagles lost to the Giants by like a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like the Rams are very capable if we're projecting and looking ahead of that matchup. Like I understand that the Eagles beat them a few weeks ago, but like holy cow, those circumstances were wild. So
I think Philly. Look, Philly's got the passing offense issues, and they've looked like really touch and go. And it's the same story that's been with them all year. It's like in the games that it's good, they have the talent to go and beat anybody, right? And their defense is really good and has talent across the board. And I like the Phillips trade and all of that, right? But there's definitely some concern with like the consistency it would take to go on a run and win it all. Again, I mean, I feel like it was better last year. I don't doubt that it can happen, but until I see it get consistent, I'll definitely worry that like they'll have a game in the playoffs where it's a bad day and they can't move the ball and they're getting really conservative and they're going to run with Saquon for 3.2 yards per carry, 15 times or whatever, So, yeah, I think if Philly would be next for me, but they gotta put a streak together of these good games.
So I always like simple rating system. That's like a really good stat, I feel, because it's point margin, which just feels important, right? How much are you winning by 1 or are you blowing teams out? We've seen how consistent close game luck can turn, right? So if you're winning a bunch of close games or you're losing a bunch of close games, that doesn't matter nearly as much as blowing teams out. So point margin is a really good thing to look at. And then strength of schedule is huge. Like, we always, we've talked about it a lot with the Rams, right? Their last 4 games have not come against the toughest teams, I'd say, necessarily. And it matters way more when you beat the Eagles. It matters way more when you beat, the Chiefs, the Bills, whoever it is. So all the things that get talked about is like, well, let's wait until this happens, or we got to see this, like, kind of get encapsulated in simple rating system. We got in the NFC, the Rams have a simple rating system of 13.1. The Seattle Seahawks are at 11.7. The third best team is the Lions, down at 7.8, and then it's the Eagles at 5.2. So there's a big drop off between
We
the
get
Rams
Lions
and Seahawks,
Eagles this week as well.
and then Lions, and we do get Lions Eagles.
We get some bangers. We're gonna go Seahawks Rams and the Lions Eagles.
And we're not going to talk about either of those games on Sunday.
And it's Denver, Kansas City too, in that same window before the night game.
That'll be that's
a really
great
good
window.
Yeah, we've got to have
week. And we have Tampa Buffalo. I guess it's gonna be a good week.
Do you know
Jaguars,
who is
Chargers?
Do you know who is second in the AFC in simple rating system? Colts are number 1. I'll spot you that.
Colts are number 1. Is it Patriots?
No.
That would have been my guess. That's a good guess. Well, I'm trying to think like who would be an interesting guess. So like Buffalo wouldn't be, Kansas City wouldn't be, right? I guess they're 5-4, so maybe that's why it's interesting. Is it Denver because they're 8-2?
No.
No, right. Okay, who is it?
It is the Houston Texans.
Ooh, wow.
Interesting.
It is the Houston Texans. They have the second hardest schedule in terms of quality of opponent, according to Pro Football Reference here. And then their points differential is 5th in the conference. It's 5th in the conference with 54. That's ahead of the Bills. That's ahead of the Chargers. It's ahead of the Ravens. It's really not too far below where the Patriots and Broncos
they still have a stretch that goes Bills, Colts, Chiefs. Damn. They still have to play the Colts 2 times, bro.
Yeah.
That's super tough.
Yeah. So keep an eye on them as don't let them get hot.
Wow, they really do have
the Jaguars have
schedule.
got to be the Jaguars blowing that game have got to just be. I mean, you open the door for them there. If they were 3-6 with that schedule, you'd feel like, man, that's a big what if with Stroud in that defense. But now, like, the door is cracked open a little bit. Man, we'll see.
Another thing that I'm thinking about just right now is I'm looking at a passing rate, or just like NFL's passing rate this season, and I'm looking at a average time of possession this season. Mm-hmm. Seattle has the lowest pass rate in the NFL this year at a staggering 47%. And they also have one of the lowest, they're 24th in average time of possession per game at just under 29 minutes at 28:54. The Rams have a significantly higher pass rate, 18th in the league, 56.7%. They are also 12th in the NFL in average time of possession. It feels kind of Chiefs coded from last year, where they can just survive throwing the ball, even if it's like, yeah, we'll take a check down here, we'll throw a short pass to Puka there, and it might only be 5 yards, but it keeps the chains moving. And the Patriots are kind of like that this year too. But that's something that kind of struck me as like the Rams might just be able to survive doing that.
Yeah. The Rams are in neutral neutral pass frequency, like first, second down, no and long situations. Mm-hmm. The Rams have the 4th highest pass rate. The Eagles, the Seahawks have the 3rd lowest. So even though the Seahawks, some of their metrics are just mind blowing right now, and I have them to win this game, like maybe the takeaway coming out of this one will be like, we gotta lean on Charbonnet a little bit less. Like if it's the Rams leaning on Puka and Adams and the Seahawks leaning on Charbonnet, you know.
So you might have the offensive player of the year on your team, but if he doesn't get the ball, it doesn't really matter.
Well, he gets the ball. It's just that it's just the other receiver. Like he is the passing offense, right? He has such a high target share. It's like, well, maybe they find a way to press him, and we see the package right halfway through the game when Chris Collinsworth says, "Well, let's take a look at JSN tonight," and it's jam and a safety over the top, and they come up with some creative way to take him out of the game, which you'd think someone else would come up with. Like, I don't know why the Rams would be the first to be able to figure that out, but
we said that when Tyreek Hill was going absolutely nuclear and the Dolphins were the best team in football, and all of a sudden the Chargers ran into them, and it was the Chargers that figured out, oh yeah, if you could just jam him and throw him off of their timing, all is
and if you go cover two, it's all fun and games until Robbie Oates or whoever that is comes flying at your corner and they toss it to K9 or Shaheed or something, and then it's like, well, go get him. Because Akella Witherspoon is out. Like, go get him number 14, Colby Durant, or run fits from a too high shell with these corners that are also an issue.
It could be really their back end on defense is just, it's ugly. So it could be. It could be tough. It could be tough sledding for them. I think I am going to take the Rams in this one, even though I've been saying Colts Seahawks Super Bowl is looking more and more likely. I think a Colts Rams Super Bowl also feels very much in the cards. The way Stafford's playing, I mean, he's been out of his mind ever since he's got to the Rams, but this feels like the best he's ever been.
Colts Seahawks is definitely what I'm pulling for Super Bowl wise.
It would be a very cool Super Bowl.
Outside of like the Panthers making it, of course.
Daniel Jones and
Bryce Young, get the memo, please.
Browns Panthers Super Bowl would be absolute cinema.
Let's see what the most likely Super Bowl is right now. They've tracked that on For the Numbers Fantasy, and right now the most likely is Seahawks versus Colts.
Wow.
8.6% chance.
Well, that's what I would like to see. I mean, the Colts haven't won, and I guess the Colts and the Seahawks have both won relatively recently, especially the Seahawks.
Lifetime.
But they're both pretty cool teams, I think. So
this would be like Pacers versus Pacers, like just teams you just did not expect.
Yeah. The Colts and the Seahawks very much are both Pacers. Like, coded. I'm trying to think who's got a chance this year. The Lions would be a team that I'd also be willing to see. I know that we've kind of done the Lions Super Bowl run.
Amon-Ra St. Brown will not be getting a ring on my
That's
watch.
Actually very true.
In the chat BCC, that is, we were talking about the best and worst duos ever, like our favorite and least favorite. And Goff and Amon-Ra are the worst duo I've ever seen in the division. I don't like them.
About that. Yeah,
I don't like them.
We are done with the Lions, I fear.
Punching guys, getting away with it, dancing, and then saying, I'm just not a political guy.
It's straight political.
No.
Oh yeah, man. No, it's rough. It's rough. They did put belt to ass to Washington though, so
they did. Whatever. I mean, they're quite good. I loved Dan Campbell taking over play calling secretly and then like wearing the glasses and being Professor Campbell and just beating the shit out of the Commanders defense. Like,
Professor.
That's so meta, is to take over play calling right when you hit a get right game for the original play caller, right? Like I could call plays against you just give me the play sheet and I could call whatever, like not even knowing what they are, like a 22 wasp, like jet, like they'd score a touchdown every drive against the Commanders with me just like with the play calling sheet, just like guessing.
You just got it in your fit. You're just like do whatever. I don't even
just do it. Yeah, it does not matter. Like Goff, you chill out. But anyway.
Anywho. So I'll take the Rams. You guys will take the Seahawks in this one. And we'll see how it goes. Do you want to get into the Stay Hot locks here before we get into Matt's fun little draft?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
The way the locks went last week, I had them pulled up on my phone locked. Last week, Theo, you had 9 points. You locked the Ravens and the Bills. the Bills did not come through for you.
That's crazy.
It is crazy, but
A-Chan, man.
A-Chan went nuclear, man. What are you gonna do?
That's probably he's also A-Chan is the greatest player in our league, by the way.
A-Chan played absolutely out of his mind. Like Jonathan Taylor rises into the MVP conversation last week. I said it on the Sunday night record. Like A-Chan may have played a better game versus Buffalo. Like it was so crazy good.
Dude, Jonathan Taylor scored 50 points for me in the 32 team.
Dude, I was going up against him in the league that my dad runs, and he awards points for rushing first downs for some reason. So Taylor scored 75 points.
That's insane.
Bruh. But
he's goated. But yeah, so
he
Theo,
ruined
you
me.
still have 9 points. You still have 9 points in the Stay Hot locks, which isn't bad. I locked the Seahawks and the Broncos. They came through.
Congrats.
Matt, you locked the Lions and the Colts. They came through. You might have been sick,
Nice.
but you weren't sick in the Stay Hot lock. So Matt, you and I are tied with 10 points. So I guess Theo, you can decide which of us should have the pick here because we're both tied.
Blaiden, because Blaiden should get the first pick because Matt wasn't even here. So
Fair enough.
Okay.
I can't handle that.
Then with the first pick in this week's Stay Hot locks, I will take the 13.5 point spread New England Patriots over the New York Jets.
Would be pretty crazy if you did anything else. I will take the second pick here, and I will take the Baltimore Ravens over your Cleveland Browns.
I think that's a fair lock.
I'm taking the Packers over the Giants.
I don't hate that pick.
Interim cheese didn't work last time, so everything for everything I've said about
are going up against interim cheese. I think that's.
I am going up against interim cheese, and the Packers look so bad, but it's Jameis Winston, and I think the Packers are still very capable of beating Jameis Winston-led teams, and I think the Giants' offense should only be scoring, 17 points maximum. And I think I'm hoping that this is the week Jordan Love avoids the sauerkraut, the Swedish brat with sauerkraut.
That's true.
You can only hope. What are you taking as your next pick?
For my next pick, did Texans over Titans get taken already?
No.
I'm trusting simple rating system here and saying that the Texans can beat Tennessee.
That would have been my pick as well. I'll go Steelers over Bengals as my next pick. The Bengals are a complete mess defensively, of course. Their offense is good. Maybe they cook them, but I don't think there's any obvious picks left, and I don't think it's a good strategy to pick one right here. So I'll go Steelers over Bengals, but I don't feel awesome about it.
I'm going to go Chargers over Jags. Travis Hunter's hurt now. They just feel very...
Out for the year. That's not good.
Yeah. No. They just feel very depleted. And they haven't been on a very positive run as of late. I mean, they beat the Raiders by 1 point. They got absolutely dog-walked by the Rams, and they got beat by the Texans previously. So I don't have a whole lot of faith in this Jacksonville team right now.
I think it's kind of funny that Hunter and Genty are like the worst players or like the worst selections from the top 16.
It is funny. But it's like, dude, it's like Brian Thomas Jr. having just like a complete brain fart year. And then now they're down Travis Hunter. So it's just Jacoby Myers. It's like their hopes and dreams rest in the hands of Jacoby Myers.
Brenton Strange is coming back soon. That's good.
That'll be big.
I don't think they're necessarily bad players anymore, like Hunter and Genty. But you look at the rest of the first, like the top half of the first round, it's like, dang, those are kind of some banger picks. Campbell, like M'Boo, all the tackles, Banks, Jalen Walker,
all of the tackle hitting is like crazy.
Oh man, this tackle class, pretty nice.
It's nasty.
But Anyway,
But I'm going to be out here. Patriots, Chargers. Matt taking the Ravens and the Steelers. Theo, do you want to take anything else?
I'll take the Cowboys over the Raiders. Yeah.
Okay.
Quinnen added to the Cowboys. Cowboys coming off a bye. Raiders looking horrible as usual.
Yeah.
One of the worst games I've seen a team play and an offense play last week. Jackson Powers Johnson hurt. That one feels pretty safe, and then I'll be out after that.
Okay. So those are
Cool.
the Stay Hot locks. Matt, can you explain to everyone what is going on with this draft that we're about to do?
Okay, so we're going to be drafting the best people currently living. Now, there are a couple of ground rules to this. First off, nobody that you know in real life, specifically no family members. As heartwarming as it would be to see mom and dad on the turn, we really can't do, I'm going to take mom, then it would just turn into like ranking your top 4 family members or whatever. And that's
Could be good podcasting, honestly.
It'd be good podcasting, but I don't have the heart. I don't have the heart to.
Where does Matthew Spawnhour rank among my family members is the real question.
Oh,
Right. And like, if my mom had a podcast, she wouldn't rank me and my brother. So
Sure.
I'm not going to put her and my dad through that, nor
In the spirit of.
do I have a ranking of them. The other rule is no sports figures. Now, this is tough because it really screws up a lot of the people I would select. But there are some people on this podcast that I was worried are going to be like all Browns defensive players if we did sports figures. And I think I would have just chickened out and gone like 3 sports figures my own personal self if we had allowed that. So to make it more interesting, we're going to say no sports figures. They also have to be currently living. They're current people.
Yes.
okay. So our current GOATs. Who gets the first pick here?
Why don't you take it?
Me?
Go for it, Theo.
I'm going to take, with the first pick in the greatest people alive draft, I'm going to select John Williams, American composer,
Ooh,
and
that's a good
conductor.
selection.
Jurassic Park, Jaws, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Wars, right?
Thank you.
Harry Potter,
Yep.
and a lot more. Like there's so many. That's a pretty unprecedented run, right? Like every single
Yeah.
movie score that you'd think of is like all him. He like owns the charts. So I'm going
Music
him.
I like
was
that.
kind of the first place my head went when thinking of this list. But I did not think of John Williams. That's an outstanding
It's a good selection.
first overall pick.
Well, who's your next person? Blaiden, now you get the next pick.
Yeah. My first pick is going to be Elton John.
Okay.
I feel like he's also just like a legend in music, and both not just like musically, which of course he's a legend, but also just like, I mean, he's a pinnacle of the gay community, I feel like. So he's just got this cultural and musical heroic. I mean, he's got 4 albums in the 70s that I think are just all banger after banger after banger. Gus Dudgeon does the production on those, and he's just out of his mind in the lab on that. So give me Elton John, the GOAT.
I thought about a lot of my favorite musicians, and I think they're all just a touch too much on like the problematic side. Like Tom York. Look, I love Radiohead as much as the next guy, but like
No,
he can't be.
Like a lot of them.
He
are
can't
really
be my pick, and so that kind of got screwed up for me. But honestly, the reason why I was thinking about this, I my first pick, and this was a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be, because I'm like, okay, there's some people that's like I'm cool with, but am I like that hype on them to put them in my greatest people when we remove sports figures? Because like, then it would be easy to just be Braun here, you know, at number 1 or whatever. But yeah, it'd be Myles Garrett, it'd be whatever. But the reason I was thinking about this is I was watching Pluribus, the new Vince Gilligan show, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is so good. Again, I honestly like I'd say two of my three favorite shows are just Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and you feel so basic, but they're so good. And I've always liked him in interviews. He seems very nice. So I went Vince Gilligan with my first pick.
I can't hate it. I mean, he's 2 for 2, and it sounds like he's 3 for 3.
Dude, it's so good.
And not
it's
just
so
in some
fire.
like minor way. Like that really is awesome. Like
It's like it's. I
it
think
really is. It really
as far
is.
as I'm
a
concerned,
crazy
it's the
TV.
best TV show ever now. Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul might even be better. You know what I'm saying?
What
They're
shocked
so
me about
good.
Breaking Bad when I watched it for the first time after hearing so much about it is how like small scale it feels. Like it doesn't. When you think about like big crime TV shows, like feels like it's happening on this
And
huge
that's good.
global
That's good
level,
because like
and this
much
felt so
so many
personal.
big media projects, like they rush to be like, it's beyond galaxy level threat, and it's like, that's now a little harder to connect to. I feel like, not that I really connect to Walter White that much, but you know what I'm saying.
You don't even get a sense of how big it really is until like the last season when he says
Pluribus
things
is
like
different.
when he says things like he has his whole rant where he's I am the one who knocks, and he talks about just like how much money like that's the first time where like the scope of what he's doing really hits you, and it's like, man, like they waited that long to like kind of talk about just how much money there is here. Anyway,
right. Pluribus isn't quite like that, but it's so fire too. You should watch it. I'm not going to say anything about it with spoilers, but you do have to get Apple TV. You do have to have 9 streaming services if you want to watch that. And then each you need a new individual streaming service.
I haven't
for
watched
each
Severance
individual
either
NFL game.
Reason.
I thought the second season of Severance was a little bit disappointing, but yeah, with my second pick, I don't know. I'm staring at a number of names here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go my favorite actor. I'm going to go J.K. Simmons. I think that everything that he is in is better because he's in it. And I think a lot of his voice work is also really good. I don't know if there's a lot of people that like I'll specifically watch something if they're in it outside of Philip Seymour Hoffman, but he's, now with us, so I can't select him. But J.K. Simmons is one of my absolute. Yeah, I mean, he's incredible. He's above everybody by like a lot, but I might go J.K. Simmons. And he's in a lot of good parts. I feel like he's always kind of stealing the show.
So that brings it to me. Do I just pick? I feel like I'm just doing the same thing you guys are doing every single time. Like Theo did a musician, and then, or he did someone musically inclined, and then I did music, and then Matt, you did an actor. So would it be lame of me to do an actor here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Then
give me Robert Downey Jr. And not just because of Iron Man, but also like Zodiac. He's great in. He's great in Oppenheimer. I just feel like everything he does, he's really great in, and he's always like, I always feel like you can tell what stage of life Robert Downey Jr. is in by the role that he's playing, because it sort of reflects back on him oftentimes, and I've always found that to be really cool, and like his growth as like a person sort of shows in his movies as well.
I think all the rest of mine are going to be artists, but I've got one activist here. I'm going Angela Davis. Davis.
You went like greatest people currently living by like achievement. And I'm picking J.K. Simmons with my second pick. I really like
John Williams is just a good
John Williams. I see what you're saying, but like,
but then he picked Angela Williams. Yeah.
Angela Davis. Angela Davis.
Yeah. Shoot.
Shout out.
I said combined.
Shout out Birmingham. Shout out. Cammy just walked in like, why are you talking about Angela Davis on Stay Hot? We're doing a draft of the greatest people currently living, and I went with John Williams and Angela Davis. Is that good? Top 2? She says no.
She said no.
Who's her one off the top of her head?
Wait, Cammy, who is your number 1 person if you could pick anybody?
No family members, no sports.
Who is your number 1 person if you could pick anybody? Like No sports figures is a rule that we're doing. No sports figure and no camera. She said
Who'd she
Cam
pick?
Johnson. She picked Cam Johnson.
Come on.
Wait, get back here.
Does she understand what Cam Johnson's shooting from 3 right now?
Who is
Theo,
number
do you
one?
want to know? Do you want to know what my girlfriend said, Theo?
What did she say?
She said I should pick your mom.
My mom? Lisa?
I don't know your mom personally. So
She just thinks she did. Wait, why did she think that Lisa should be taken?
She just thinks it would be funny because I don't know your mom.
I mean, it'd be a good pick. But yeah, shout out Angela Davis. I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept. Come on now.
That's a
Come
banger.
on now.
That's a banger.
And then on the swing, I'm taking Jeremy Wade, the River
Okay.
Monsters guy who caught all the river monsters. So he
Okay.
had to end the show.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
First banger show. I've seen all the episodes. And then for that to be the way that the show ends, like, come on, that puts you GOAT status.
Fair enough.
I will take another musician here. Give me Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age.
Josh Homme? Bruh.
I can't say I know anything about him.
I mean, I love
he's a
Queens of the
lunatic.
Stone Age. I don't know if he deserves to be taken. He might.
He's a lunatic. He's like actually an insane human being. He's almost died like at least once a year. But nah, he's goated, bro. His songwriting is insane. So he belongs on the list.
I can't say I know anything about him, so I'll give you that one, I guess.
I mean, I know the only thing that's like really insane. There's two like crazy insane Josh Homme facts. The first is he was having surgery. I don't even remember what the surgery was for, but his heart stopped on the operating table and the doctors had to revive him. And so like my favorite album that they've ever made is about like his like appreciation of life after that experience. The second crazy Josh Homme fact is that he lost custody of his kids
Yes.
because of, and then he got his kids back because they found out that his ex-wife's new boyfriend forged his son's signature that claimed he was like abusing them. And so he like
that's
won
why
a
he's a goat.
3-year legal battle to get his kids back. It was like the most insane thing ever. Because even I was like, dude, am I even allowed to
Made
listen to
songs
these
for the
guys?
deaf, yo. He made songs for the deaf.
That's like my fourth favorite Queen's album.
Come on.
I'm gonna go Gary Larson.
Shout
Far
out
Side
the
is
Far Side.
Goated. Far Side is so good. We had all those books when I was a kid. I wasn't gonna go back to back cartoonist, but I was also thinking the guy who did Calvin and Hobbes.
The fact that I wasn't thinking about Watterson, but the fact that he dropped Calvin and Hobbes and then dipped and didn't sell any of the licensings, right? He's a real one. Now I'm considering him.
You should do it, man.
But the
Calvin and Hobbes is great.
Do you have a
That- my-
favorite Far Side? Do you have a favorite one?
I don't know. I mean, I have a favorite Calvin and Hobbes off the top of my head. The one where he's hammering nails into the table and then his mom rushes in and is like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Is that a trick question?" That one's my favorite Calvin and Hobbes.
I like any Far Side with an alien in it, like that whole genre. Whenever he draws an alien is fired. But I also like the one. Oh, what's the one? There's one where there's like a hotel for the. There's one where there's a center for illiteracy, and then there's one that's just Acme Industries, and everybody's protesting the center of illiteracy. I don't know. There's a lot of good ones.
And then I got one more pick. I'll go Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
There we go.
She's great in Seinfeld, and Veep is also really, really good. It might be in my top 10. So I thought about her. And then the next, if I have an honorable mention, not that I'm an honorable mention guy, I'd say Tina Fey, because 30 Rock is so fire. But I'll be real with you. I knocked out all of the people I was super crazy passionate with I was like, I'll definitely have Vince Gilligan up there, and then we got to have no sports people to make it interesting. And I'm like, shit, that's like all my
Cam,
top
LeBron,
dogs.
Yeah, LeBron.
Shit, dude, what about-
Keeley, Terrell Davis.
So, but I feel good about my 4.
So that brings it to me. Oh man, I feel like I've got a pretty tough pick here because I'm like, I know none of the people that I'm thinking about picking are going to be on Theo's list. So I'm thinking either like Taiko Inuki. She's this Japanese musician. She's incredible. I don't know like a lot about her other than her music's fire. Or like Billie Eilish. But I feel like she's not like the greatest person alive. Like she's cool, but like
That's how I feel about literally all of these people. I was like, I should have. How about a draft of 4 people you like pretty good?
4 people you like pretty good, or like Jack White's another that I'm considering. He just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the White Stripes. I feel like that'd be a pretty valid pick. And I love the speech that he gave. He was like, just go out and be brave, do shit, get in your garage, make some stuff. We all want to see what you create. And then he wrote a poem that he read to Meg. And I feel like he always does that now. Anytime he's in public, he like tries to like call to her, which is always kind of sweet. You know, yeah, fuck it. I'll go Jack White.
There we go. I will go with an actress here. I'm going Frances McDormand.
That's a good one.
Let's see. Cammy just gave me hers. Let me see the phone. I don't have my glasses. Michael Parenti, Joe Dart, the bassist. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Meryl Streep. That's very solid.
I thought about Streep. She was on my relatively.
Streep is low key.
You know what? Really,
best actress to ever live. But Frances McDormand is in Fargo. Shout out Fargo.
Michelle Obama going undrafted is kind of crazy.
Bro, I'm not taking any Obama. Do not. Shout out 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Shout out Nomadland. Shout out Almost Famous. Shout out the Coen brothers. She's married to one of the Coen brothers, so I love the Coen brothers, and I get them by extension here. So I'm going McDormand.
By extension.
But Streep, Devil Wears Prada. That's a hell of a performance.
Me not having any women on my list is not a good look for me, but
come on, guys.
I'll be back.
Come on, guys.
I'll lock in.
So Jeremy Wade, John Williams, Angela Davis, and Frances McDormand. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, you watched us, I'm afraid.
I got Elton John, Robert Downey Jr., Josh Homme, and Jack White.
I slipped into a comfortable second.
I just picked a bunch. I just picked a bunch of white rock stars. It's cool, guys.
Doesn't get any better than white rock stars. Sorry, Michelle Obama.
I mean, you know what? It's actually crazy. I could have picked Carlos Santana. That probably would have been a better pick than Josh Homme. Carlos Santana, his wife is his drummer, and every time he plays, he's like, "I love my wife, guys. Give it up for my wife on the drums." Trying to think about who else I could have picked. I don't know, but that's the first guy that I just thought of. I was like,
who is the greatest girl in the world?
The greatest girl in the world? My girlfriend, obviously.
Girl draft would have been good.
Girlfriend doesn't count. Girlfriend doesn't count. That's too close to fame.
No, girlfriend doesn't count. I really did want to take Taika Inuki. I've been a big fan of her music.
Yeah, I guess you did mention.
Or like, I've been listening to. I keep re-listening to Magdalena Bay. I don't know any of their names.
That's very fair.
But like, I just keep listening to. What's the one album that it's Imaginal Disc? I keep listening to that, especially Tunnel Vision and Cry for Me. That's a great album. I was also there's this what's her Lisa Ono. She's like does Japanese, but she's also speaking Spanish. Like it's weird. Like she does. I don't even know. Like the music's not all good, but like this one album's fire.
I don't know what she's really about, but she is a girl.
She
is a girl.
The
I have
music's
heard
kind of
her.
tight, so it's cool. But those, that's the draft. And I think that'll do it for another episode of Stay Hot. Kind of a shorter episode today, but thank you all so much for tuning in.
Hour 20.
What's up?
We made it an hour 20.
Did we? Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
You know, last time I looked up, it was like an hour flat. So I was like, oh, no. Everyone's going to be mad at us. But no, they'll be okay. We had Matt back. We're so happy to have him back. Glad he's healthy. And until next time, when we recap what could be the greatest week of NFL football that we've seen all season, as always, from your favorite fellas here at Stay Hot, we will catch you on the flippity flop.
Rosalia.